Okay, time now is 12:58 afternoon. I just fucking woke up on October 12th. Yeah, so I slept from 4:30 a.m. to now, and I naturally woke up. I think this is the first time I naturally woke up since like weeks ago. And yeah, that was great, and I'm sorry to myself for sleeping so late. I really forced myself to finish the film Helter Skelter. And there's still a bunch of stuff I didn't really do last night, but I think it's okay. I really need to give myself a break because yesterday was quite a special day. Not gonna lie, even though for the last couple of weeks, my feelings for Jayun were diminished. Um, um, Last night that conversation felt so intimate and vulnerable that there was a moment last night before I went to bed where I'm like, oh, I want to see a picture of her. I just want I just want to see a picture of her. But then I'm like, a picture of her is not good enough as the real her, you know? Like actually seeing her. For a moment, I really wanted to see her. But yeah, the conversation with Jiren yesterday, I'm just really happy that I did it. I'm just really happy that I made that decision. I think it's bravery, but it's also my willingness to end this, my willing to end this. And I'm also really happy that it didn't end horribly like Leslie. Leslie was just horrible ending. But with her it's just like understanding. And again, it's like I cut open myself and lay out my ugliest parts in front of her, and then she cut open herself and lay open some ugly parts about her. And I saw her ugliness and she saw my ugliness, and it was like wow, Jesus Christ, Um yeah, um that that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it. I don't have anything planned today. I think it's gonna be home all day. And yeah, it's crazy. I was gonna say, oh well, today since it's a free day, I should probably head to H Mart. But the thing is, my fridge is packed with new food right now, so I don't really need to do that. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, probably a home all day. I would not be surprised. I also don't have any notifications on my phone. I have nothing to do today, which is great. I need a day where I just focus on editing and shit. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to add. Um, Maybe I'll hit the gym. Actually, I don't know. That would be nice. Actually, um, yeah, because I was thinking of hitting the gym on Tuesday, but I feel like Tuesday should be reserved for something else. You know. Yeah. Um, and that's that. That's it. That's that. Yay. Um, yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen the next time I run into Jiren. I feel like the chances of me running into her on campus is quite low because she's always busy somewhere, especially this semester. But I feel like if we do run into each other, I'm just gonna say hi. I'm just gonna be like, hey, and she'll just say hey, and then we'll move on. But it's just now this is different. If we say hi to each other after Hong Kong, it's like, oh, there's a bit of history. And then now we say hi after this, it's like, oh, there's a lot of history. But I think I just appreciate that I expect nothing after this. Like, I don't expect her to like me more or hate me more. Um, I expect nothing. And even if she likes me more or hates me more after yesterday, it doesn't matter anymore, because it's so beyond love and hate. It's so. What I experienced yesterday is so. Like, I didn't even see her, you know, I see her as a really, really real human being. And I hope she also saw me as a really real human being. Yeah. I wouldn't say yesterday's experience was positive, but it's not negative at all. It's probably the best possible way to end off something like this. So, yeah. Gotta move on. It sucks that I'm 23 and I still haven't dated anyone. Um, if what I want to if what I asked for is intimacy, emotional intimacy, yesterday was the most intimate I've ever been with anyone, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes friends are really emotionally intimate with me, like personal. Michelle says something personal to me all the time, and um, yeah. But like, as far as like that strong, like super strong, like I have feelings for you, and then her telling me that for a split second I felt something for you, it's just so fucking wild. I can't really believe it still. For me, really. Okie dokie. Time now is I don't freaking know, 9:25 p.m. Um, yeah, and yeah, it's quite early for me to film this video, but I feel like it is about time because I feel like like we're already in quite late. So today is for the first time in weeks a home all day. I did not do anything. After I woke up, I had a stomach ache, and then I spent a couple hours not doing anything in particular. I called my friend Retablo. That's it. And yeah, very much needed day of rest. I feel like all going to the sets. I mean, there's still this weekend, but going to a lot of film sets, and then the conundrum yesterday really complicated things. But yeah, I throughout the day I really didn't receive any interesting notifications, not chatting with people, nothing. But instead, I feel like I'm in retrospective mode. I keep reflecting on yesterday's conversation and also at the same time thinking back on all of my interactions in my life. I don't know why, but yeah, I feel like when okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm still kind of processing yesterday. I feel like she doesn't really need to process yesterday that much because she has a bajillion other things to worry about, and I have other things to worry about too. But um, I the bad news I think is that I am less important for her than she is for me. I saw a meme where it's like when you overestimate your own importance to that person when you're having a conversation with them. And that's true. I am not that important to her, but I do believe that yesterday, when she said all these very personal and intimate things to me, um, she was dead serious, and I also do think that she probably doesn't get to do that to a lot of people. Um, yeah, I mean, she's 20, which is not really old at all. And so I don't think she's come to a point where she's completely comfortable with herself. Neither am I. Obviously, we're on very different levels. We're very different people in general, but I think when she even when I had ramen with her and I asked her, you know, do you are you there for people because of genuine kindness? That which is a wacky answer, and then she actually gave me a very um, strong and memorable answer, and that is I do it out of pride, but also by proxy out of kindness. And it's such a real and raw answer. I just like, damn, okay. And so yeah, her realness yesterday was just like yeah, I just really did not expect that. Um, and then my realness to her, her realness to me. I I believe that she probably doesn't do this with a lot of people. I don't know how many people has she been this real with. And I feel like I don't even know her full story. Neither does she know my full story, but I know enough of her to really feel like to really see um how deep it goes, you know? Um yeah. So yeah, can't really stop thinking about yesterday, honestly. I know it's the end. I know it's the end of our relationship, whatever it was. Friendship, kind of the end of our friendship, I guess. The end of my obsession with her, but I think it lasted. It ended on a really strong note. Kind of reminds you of like Mary, the last day I ever saw Mary, May 15th, 2020, at the school, and she told me like add oil. Like that was such a beautiful way to end off our history of barely any interactions. But I think yesterday was like probably the most meaningful conversation I've ever had with anyone. Um, Got to be top five for me. Top five conversations I've had with anyone in my life. Got to be a top five. Um, but yeah, we're just on such different levels. Like it's so crazy that the girl I spoke with yesterday was the same girl who wrote Starman and made Rush, and who made everyone fall in love with her and howl over her, and she got all these connections and internships and recognition. And yesterday I forgot about all that. Yesterday all I want to know is her as a person, as a human being. And I really felt that. I really felt it. Um yeah. And then yeah, I don't know. I do think this is the best possible way to end off a relationship. I just cannot stop thinking about her, but instead of like obsessing and stressing out, like, oh, will I be able to get close to her? Will I not? It doesn't matter anymore. If I don't see her for 10 days, or a month, or a year, and if I see her again, I'm sure it's okay. And, you know, I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, and this kind of connects to me sort of reflecting on my whole life, especially how round six started off with just nothing but pain and agony. I think the first 2 weeks of September um, really, really, I was so stressed out because I'm similarly stressed out about my position in the world. I was really thinking about what if I don't get a visa? What if I'm not accomplished enough? What if I don't have a girlfriend in my last year of college? Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Wouldn't that make me pathetic? What if I'm not stronger and muscular? And what if I'm not surrounded by a lot of cool friends? Then I have lost this game. This is a game. But right now I'm thinking in a similar perspective. I'm thinking about my place in the world. But instead of thinking about my place socially, in terms of having girlfriends, having great internships, having great projects attached to me, I'm more just thinking about myself and I can't really explain it in words completely, but it's just, yes, I have a reason to be stressed, and it's reasonable for me to have this, to go over this crazy stress, sad phase. But um, we're all we're all in pain. I think a lot of people, especially me, maybe, or including, or maybe especially me, are struggling in some crazy internal way. And so, truth be told, while I'm not at my most successful and powerful, I think it matters less in terms of my success and power, and it matters more. See, when I have to say it in words, I just don't know how to say it. It's. How do I explain this? Um, it's less about how accomplished I am and more about how much I have survived, I guess. How much I've endured, how much I've experienced, and who I am afterwards. I think of my films and my art and my work as products of me only after I've experienced all this stuff. And even if I'm not the most successful, beautiful, powerful person at USC, you know, I I put out the work, you know. I am also a creator of my own world, and I represent myself in some way. I talk to people, I act in a way that sums up my persona. That sums up my soul, you know. And that's where I am, and that's where I will continue to be. I think even if I within 2 years suddenly win shit ton of awards and become really famous, and my happiness will not change unless I am in good terms with myself. And by the time I become in good terms with myself, success and fame do not mean anything anymore because I have already achieved happiness. So I don't know, I'm just thinking, because yesterday when I was talking to Jiren, I felt equal with her, which is so crazy because I think a lot of people, including me in the past, feel unequal to her. She is this really high, high achieving, powerful girl. But yesterday we were just humans. I don't even see her physical appearance. I don't even see it. I can't even see. Like, of course I remember what she's wearing, but her physicality is not even important. At some point yesterday, her body, her voice means nothing. Her work means nothing. It's just her existence, And that is the most real a person have ever been. Just her soul. And yeah, and that's it. And it's so layered and it's so complex. It's so ugly, it's so pretty, and I don't even know anymore. I don't know anymore. I just hope she's doing okay, and I hope she hopes that I'm doing okay. Even though, again, it's kind of one-sided, considering that she's more important to me than I am to her. I think at least yesterday, prior to yesterday, when she doesn't know that I have feelings for her, she like, she probably doesn't think much of me, She's just like, oh, it's a free day. Yeah, sure, let's hang out with Enoch. I think I don't consider her especially kind to me. I just think she's nice to me in a conventional way, the same way she's nice to everyone else. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I run into her again. I'll just say hi. Um. And it doesn't matter anymore. It's so crazy that she even talked about how when she likes someone, she has to lie a little bit. She also, I forgot to mention this, so she talked about delusions. Like, what I do is I convince myself that I'm the greatest person ever. It's not God that makes you the greatest person ever. It's not your family or friends. It's you yourself. You wake up every morning and you convince yourself that you're the greatest person ever, and then just do it. And then just believe in what you do, and then just do it. And I think that's her method. I don't think it works on me because if I have to believe in it, I'm also killing myself. If I have to push myself to such limits, I'm slowly killing myself. I have my own method of surviving and living, and she has her own method. And as long as we're comfortable with our methods, then might as well. So every time I feel jealous of her, and it's interesting because I told her I feel inferior, I envy her, and she's like, you know what? I used to sound like that too. I used to be nothing but jealousy. Um, but then again, I feel like for me to grow out of jealousy, it's to realize that A, we're both idiots at the end of the day. It's just that she's the more successful idiot. B, I have my own way of surviving and being in the world and being in balance with myself, sort of throwing myself out there and trying really hard, try harding, but at the same time respecting myself and knowing what I enjoy and knowing my pacing and knowing my boundaries and sort of find that internal balance. Um, but yeah, that was so intimate. That was so real that I just, yeah. That was, and again, it's beyond love at this point. I don't know, like, I guess if I'm still in love with her, I would say like, oh, I can't wait to see her again, and then I'll say something to her. I wonder what she'll think. At some point, it just doesn't really matter. At some point, it just stops mattering. Yeah. Oh well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Okay, trying the mooncake from Chinatown. Happy Mid Autumn Festival, even though that happened 5 days ago. Cheers. A bit tough. Maybe it's because I took it out of the fridge. Flavor's on point. Um. Okay. Time now is 12:53 afternoon on October 13th. Yeah. I slept from 4:40 to 12:40. Yeah, another natural waking up 2 days in a row. Crazy. Lots of good sleep, lots of rejuvenation. Um, yeah. Last night, yesterday was not productive at all. I did finish a film, but I had to skip around because the film is bad and watch 3 episodes of anime. I did almost finish my script, but I'm confident I can finish it today. I'm confident I can finish my first 480 script Sezon today. I can do it, okay? I can do it. Um, Beyond that, nothing else. The original idea for today was that I and Harley are going to go out and look for props and buy stuff for the film. Um, but I guess that isn't really happening anymore because no one really knows what's going on. I texted Harley yesterday. Harley texted the group chat. I should have directly texted the group chat. And Ethan Kwan was like, I'll call you tomorrow. So, no news, don't know what to do. Um, in the meantime, at 6 p.m. today, I have in person therapy at SCA. So, that is cool. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Um, I don't have anything else to add really. Yeah, yesterday I also suddenly remembered to Zelle Jayun $15, 14 for the Uber and one more dollar because of the drink that I had at the ramen restaurant. Um, yeah, Jayun. What a what a bizarre relationship. What a bizarre ending to a bizarre relationship. Um, just yeah, and I'd like to just stop on that. That is the most beautiful way to end it all. And I remember Giant telling me that it's a privilege if you are at a higher status, you are automatically a mean person by default. And she said this partially because of Colin Nelson. He's rich, he's privileged, so that makes him a very mean person. Um, but I also think she's talking about herself. Like, she's so accomplished. She's got internships and connections and jobs and shit, and that automatically makes her a worse person. And a little bit later, under the tree, she asked me, "Why am I such a bad person, or why am I not a good person?" And I don't really know how to answer that because I don't think she's a good person either. So I was like, "You're fundamentally good. You just have layers of desire, I guess." Um, yeah, such a philosophical freaking day. Um, but yeah, that is a great way to end it off. Can't think of a better way to end off a relationship than that. Honestly, just let that moment be the lasting image forever. Um, yeah. Yeah. Aside from that, today will be a chill day. So, yeah, that's basically it. Yippee ki yay! I also don't know why, but maybe I have gastroenteritis. Maybe I have stomach flu right now because yesterday morning I had a stomach ache, and then last night I had a stomach ache again, and I just cannot eat food. I had salmon yesterday and I couldn't finish it. It was disgusting, bland, fatty, and gross. And then yesterday I had mooncake, and the first bite was great, and then I wanted to throw up by the fourth bite, which is the last bite. It was just so thick and fat, and I just don't like eating food. I just lost my appetite, and everything felt poisonous, and then I had a stomachache again afterwards. So I don't know. Okay, time now is 1:24 um a.m. in the morning, and yeah, I today's nice, today's chill. Another day where I slept a lot and also didn't do a lot. I did finish Demon Slayer. I did have a pretty lengthy 1.5 hour call with Michelle, and while having dinner, while cooking and eating dinner, I had a Zoom, Instagram slash Discord video call with Ethan Kwan and Harley, just to talk about PD for this weekend. Honestly, I'm so fucking tired of going to set. After this weekend, I'm gonna stop, and rightfully so. Um, but yeah, Not much else happened. I guess the highlight of the day would be me going to therapy. I walked over to the Engaman Student Health Center, went to the third floor, checked in, and boom, I was on time for therapy. And then I had a 50-minute therapy session, and most of it was just me talking about Jiayun because it is the topic at hand. And it's pretty interesting because I don't have that much. I don't have anything too negative to say about my life right now, and honestly, if anything, I think my talk with Jairun was a positive experience. But yeah, I think I just think yeah, I think the most interesting part was the therapist telling me that I've built a wall, which I it's not the first time I'm aware of this. Like, I know myself quite well. After being a social outcast, after all the ignoring and bullying, or well, I don't know bullying, but after the conundrum that I experienced in secondary school, I kind of built a defense system around myself, and that system is a wall. And so it feels like I feel distant from people, but when in fact it's because I have built myself a wall. And sometimes I penetrate that wall. Sometimes someone penetrates that wall, but I have a wall. And I talked about how why it's always 0 or 100 with me, and maybe I'm arrow ace, but my therapist said that maybe it's because there's a wall, and if there's a wall and you have a little interest, it just builds up, but it's not passing the wall. When my feelings for her is high enough, then it's higher than the wall, then it crashes over. So that's why it always feels like either 0 or 100 for me, because it's either here or it's 100. So yeah, this is why it's always either 0 or 100. I think the most interesting part was when I talked about my secondary school life and how I was, ignored and all that shit. I was laughed at, ignored, just having a terrible time. When I talked about it, the therapist asked me how I feel, and then for some reason I didn't answer that question, and I returned to talking about Jayun. And then my therapist pointed that out, and I was like, I do not recall avoiding that question. And my therapist was like, yeah, but I want to know why you didn't answer it subconsciously. Like maybe you were trying to avoid being in touch with your feelings because those feelings are a bit too tough, a little bit too traumatic, and so you avoided answering my question subconsciously because you weren't in touch with it. And I'm like, I don't know. I did not even realize that I avoided answering your question. And she said that maybe I'm dissociating, and it's common for people who's like neurodivergent or on the autistic spectrum, where you talk about something but you're dissociating. So sometimes you're in love with someone or you have feelings for someone, but you're dissociating, so you don't even realize it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's an interesting theory. But essentially, my therapist saw that I was physically showing distress when I talked about my secondary school life, which is really interesting because I don't feel stressed out talking about it. Right now, I don't feel stressed out talking about it. Um, and that's kind of scary. The fact that I don't know if it's just my behavior at that point, just kind of suggesting that I was in distress. But I usually am not in distress when I talk about secondary school life because it's something of the past. It's so far away. It's like folklore. Yeah. So not really sure. But yeah, there is that. There is that indeed. And then finally, what else? What else happened with my therapist? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then yeah, there's nothing else today. I'm gonna finish the script. Believe in me, trust me, and then I'll begin working on my second script. Um, I have 14 days left, 2 weeks left for the script. So hopefully that's enough time for me to write and rewrite. Um, I think it should work out fine. I think it should. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know how to feel about Jiren right now. I know, and again, like looking back at our conversation 2 days ago, it's kind of dreamy. It's almost a little dreamy that it happened. I also talked to Michelle about it, but when I talked to her about it, it feels less dreamy. But there's something so beautiful about it. Like I actually saw her. I looked at her in the eye. When I confessed to Leslie, I didn't even look at Leslie in the eye that much, if I can recall correctly, because I was afraid of her. But with Jiren, I was just sitting and she's to my left. She's to my right side, and I just looked at her. And it wasn't like awkward. I just looked at her, and I don't know. I hope she feels the same way. I don't know. I just feel like I saw her. This feels so intimate. I've never had sex, but this is like. This is better than sex. Probably. Because it's so. Jiren might be fucking some guy right now, but it would be just corporeal. It would be physical. But this is psychological, This is, I don't know, this sounds really weird. But I really haven't felt this intimate with someone before. Yeah, it's really strange. I'm still in her close friends Instagram, which is shocking. I thought I'm not, but apparently I am. Maybe she just forgot to remove me from close friends. I don't know. But who cares, man? I removed Leslie from my close friends, but I can add her back to my close friends. Doesn't really matter. I'm also in Audrey's close friends. Audrey the Asian girl, which is interesting. Yeah. Also, I tried to eat cream cheese this morning, and I opened the box, and it's like this fuzzy fungus with the black tip, and it looks so gross, and I threw it away. Because in my head, I thought moldy cream cheese makes it pink, but apparently, cream cheese can get moldy in all sorts of ridiculous ways. So, yeah, that's it. Okay, time now is 12:31 afternoon on October 14th. Um, yeah. So, I slept from 4:15 to 12:20-ish, I guess, or 12:15-ish, maybe. I woke up like 5 times, though. Like, at around 9 a.m., I woke up. My body is like, hold on, you shouldn't be sleeping that much. And then at 10:50, I was wide awake for a while because Mary was cooking downstairs, and then the smoke alarm went off 3 times. Um, and now my room smells like food, and I think she's still downstairs cooking, even though it's been 2 hours. But yeah, it feels great. I feel privileged to be able to sleep very well 3 days in a row. I even had a dream where I think I brought my family to America or something, and it was a bit of an adventure. It was like, not in a good way. It was like risky and grim and fantastical, but yeah. Um, yeah. Um, Today should be a chill day. It's gonna rain, and it rained, yeah, last night. Um, but yeah, if it doesn't rain that bad, I'll go out and go to the gym. Also, I'm running out of food again. Fuck me. So I might just go get more food. Actually, maybe instead of going to the gym, I should go to H Mart. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's a good choice. Um, yeah. So I don't know. Beyond that, nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing interesting. D'Angelo died today, which is really sad. Um, I didn't even know that he's still alive. Okay, I maybe mixed him up with someone else, but yeah, beyond that, I don't really have a lot else to say. Um, I kind of really want to hang out with people on Halloween, except, yeah, if Jian was here, she probably would have recommended me 5 different parties I could go to for Halloween, but now I don't really know. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Mm. Oh yeah, and I finished a script late last night. The reason why I couldn't watch the film, The Girl with the Needle, even though I planned to, was because I forced myself to finish the script instead. So it's done. So that's good news. And yeah, that's it. Whatever this is, just cleaned up the trash over there. Okay, whoa, not a lot of time. Okay, time now is 12:27 after midnight. Yeah, not a lot of time left. Nothing important happened today, other than going to the gym. No, I actually went to H Mart at around 6:20 p.m. I took a bus, went over to H Mart, bought a load of stuff, came back, and that only took 1 hour and 10 minutes. And then I chilled a little bit, and then I went to gym, and I literally spent like maybe half an hour at the gym. Not a lot of time. I did the rowing machine and then the pull-up machine, and I was like, you know what, that's enough. And then I took a lift to Ralph's, and I got some trash bags and some ice cream, and then I came back home. And that's it for today. When I went to H Mart today, I was really listening to a lot of sad music, and I felt really melancholic today. And that's weird because the last 2 days I felt okay. I felt fine. I felt calm and at peace. But nonetheless, there is a feeling of aftertaste with what happened at Little Tokyo. Um, it's just like it's not a date, but that to me is like the best date that is not a date. We met up, we felt like our conversations flowed so well, and Jiren also told me how other guys dated him. She dated 2 white guys at Little Tokyo, and one time it was like a very bad date because he didn't speak much. And I thought that was a very good, again, quote unquote date. It's a date that isn't a date, and yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's just like, I will not forgive Jaehyun for like not noticing that I have feelings for her and sort of ignoring me. Clearly, I'm the bigger loser in this situation. Um, yeah, but again, I'm also really grateful that she was so honest in her response and so real with her response. And the thing is, despite her ugliness, despite her flaws, I still think she's an amazing girl. And I think that's romantic as fuck. I think if you can see the ugliest side of a person and still appreciate them for who they are, then, it's real. But again, I kind of have to move on from her again. I just feel melancholic because I feel like I burned down 3 houses, and now I'm on the road looking for a fourth house to burn down. Um, since Mary, which was how many years ago? I started liking her in 2017. Let's say 2018. That was 7 years ago. And then I burned down that one. 2 years ago with Leslie, I burned down that one. And then this summer with Jaehyun, I burned down that one. I keep burning down houses, and now I'm just wandering on a big road all by myself. And it's cold, and it's sad, and it's wet. And I don't know. I'm so tired, and I'm so lonely again. Like, who is the next person who's going to talk to me every single day the same way Jaehyun did to me in summer, and in Christmas, just every single day. We joke around, we talk about music and films, and then we talk about something intimate. We talk about something personal. She reveals something really personal about her, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's never gonna happen. I just I don't feel hurt. I just feel hollow, and yeah. And in some ways, I wish I could just leave USC right now and never see Jaehyun again, out of sight, out of mind. But in some ways, I think I'm glad that I'm still here and I'm still gonna see her in some capacity. As a friend, as a stranger, just around. I don't know. I'm just glad it ended on good terms. I'm just glad. It could have been way worse. That was the best possible outcome, really. And again, Jaehyun saying that she had some feelings for me after we met, which is why she called me, was very interesting. So I'm capable, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Jaehyun also talked about how there's this racist transphobe guy who dated her, and he's like, oh, can you be my goth girl? And I'm like, Jaehyun's a goth girl? And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I guess she could be a goth girl. I guess there's something. First of all, like, she does wear like punk-ish clothes sometimes. B is her personality can be quite dark and fucked up too, which is very. But at the same time, I don't see her as a goth girl. After all, it's just an aesthetic. Um, so yeah. Anyways, tomorrow's Asian horror class is canceled, unfortunately, which means I ain't seeing Audrey, the Asian girl, or anyone. But instead, I'll be heading over to Universal Prop House with Ethan Kwan at 1 p.m. So that is happening. So that's tomorrow. And now I gotta watch some movies. Okay, time now is 10:53 a.m. on October 15th. Um, yeah, goddamn, we're already halfway through October. I can't believe it. Um, Oh my god. My roommate Mary's singing and yeah, I slept from 4 a.m. or 4:15? No, 4. Yeah, 4 a.m. to 10:50. And yeah, 6 hours and 15 minutes, which is not bad. Honestly, it's the first day out of 4 days where I had to wake up by an alarm. But yeah, I'm just so blessed to have been able to sleep 3 days and naturally wake up for 3 days in a row. I just think it's such a blessing. Not very productive yesterday. I still haven't started on my second script, but I really fucking should. And I had some ideas last night. I had some ideas yesterday, so that's pretty cool. Um, I had a dream, which is rare. I had a pretty vivid dream right before I woke up. Um, I think it was Mid Autumn Festival, but it's also sometime after me and Jayun had that conversation in Little Tokyo. And we were on a school bus crossing a bridge or like crossing over the sea going to somewhere far. And possibly in Hong Kong too, I don't know. We were on a school bus, a school trip to Hong Kong. And Jayun couldn't find seats anywhere or like doesn't want to sit anywhere. And I was listening to music and looking out the window, and Johnny decided to sit next to me. And I thought we just had that crazy conversation in Little Tokyo, but sure, sit beside me. I don't really care. And then she sat beside me, and then we just talked, and it was really nice. And I made some jokes. I saw a couple. I saw an Asian and a white man couple, and I was like, Caucasian moment, white people moment, and everyone on the bus laughed. And I totally forgot that Jayun's relationship with Colin is Asian and white. Oh, um, yeah, and we got off the school bus and we arrived at this entrance that felt like the entrance to Ocean Park, and I feel like my parents are there, and there's something Christian about it. It's like a Christian trip. Um, because I think my godfather was there from Texas, and Giant just sat next to me, and I walked around, and I felt so nice and comfortable. Like she likes me, and I like her, and there's a stability in that, and that's pretty much it. But it was such a nice dream, and I woke up and I'm like, oh yeah, in real life, that didn't happen in real life, and I'm like, damn. But that's truly sweet, and I wish there's someone who could do that with me. Just nice conversation, joking around, so warm, makes life a little easier. So yeah, um, yeah. So I'm waking up because at 1 p.m. I'm going to Universal Prop House with Ethan Kwan, and then we'll come back. I'm gonna have lunch, and then I'll head out again for the David Lynch class, and also potentially the talk with Sammy Kwan, producer of Honora, wife of Sean Baker at APCA. But then again, that clashes with my Lynch class, so I have to make a decision. I have to make a dilemma. Um, So yeah, that is that. Oh, maybe Jiang would be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Jiang was there. Um, but yeah, that's basically that. Um, Not much else. Yeah. I realized Johnny really ticked all the boxes, like toxic relationship, tick, substance abuse, tick, um, like, this is when I've realized how innocent and how clean I am as a person, you know? Yeah, also last night I couldn't watch, I was gonna watch two films, but yesterday I finished one film and that was a pain in the ass because every 10 minutes there's an ad on Daily Motion, and every time I refresh the website it plays an ad. And then it plays four ads, and then I click on the timeline of where I left off, and then it plays four more ads. So I have to endure 8 ads whenever I refresh the webpage. And then for the second film, Funeral Parade of Roses, 20 minutes in I started falling asleep, which is surprising. I thought I have enough sleep, but no. So yeah. Hopefully I go to bed even earlier tonight. Yeah. You got it?
See it. People keep on, they won't shut up about it.
Well, first off, thank you, Sammy, for coming, but also, can we all get a happy belated birthday? To come out of myself by telling stories about other things, and to write things about how four of my top would be, one would be Old Boy, but I'm going to say all three of those movies, like Lady Vengeance and the other one, which is escaping my mind at the moment.
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance.
Amazing. Number two, I would pick Mulholland Drive, because I love David Lynch. But I love so many of his movies. Number three would be The Lion King original, because my sister and I used to watch it like every day during my Christmas break. And then I would pick, okay, this is a random one. I'm going to pick a Korean movie called My Sassy Girl.
Okay, it's 2:06 a.m. in the morning. Today has been intriguing. I would say, very weird, because, I'm 3 days into the week and I still haven't taken a class yet. So, I woke up and, quickly finished the film, and at 1:45 p.m., Ethan Kwan showed up outside of my place with a U-Haul truck. I hopped on the truck, we got over to Universal Prop House, and it's pretty interesting because I feel like sometimes when I'm with a total stranger, I get to have a good conversation with them. And then, like with Sienna Barker, for some reason I had a really good conversation with her, and then with Ethan Kwan, maybe it's because I met him slightly earlier, that made me realize I haven't had a real conversation with him. So I tried to have like a good conversation with him, like talking about movies, talking about scripts, and then we ended up talking a lot about like sensor sizes and lenses, cinematography stuff, and Shogun and David Lynch. I think I talked about him, stuff like that. Wong Kar-wai. We made it to Universal at around 2:40 or like 2 something, 2:30. And we have about half an hour to 20 minutes to return all the props. And it's not that difficult. We grabbed a cart and we loaded everything onto the cart, and then we put the hand props, which is basically the smaller pieces, in a truck, and then the bigger pieces of furniture, we just put them right in the front at the office. And it's so interesting because I saw these tours, like a bunch of kids showed up, and I was like, why are there a bunch of kids? And turns out it's like part of a studio tour where people just go to Universal Prop House. Ooh, this is how movies are made, movie magic. And to them, it's also magical and whimsical, but to us, it's like, fuck, you know? It's expensive and annoying, and it's kind of cool that I know I'm, like, on the other side of that now. But yeah, we returned all the props, and at 3 p.m. sharp, we left the Universal Prop House, and it took a whole ass hour for the truck to come back to my home because of the traffic. So finally, I got back, and I ate a good lunch: salad, soup, eggs, omelet, mushroom omelet, bacon, pretty nice. And then I also spent some time editing my can vlog, and I had a bit of a dilemma. I had to choose between going to the David Lynch class to watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me, or head over to Taper Hall to see Samantha Kwan, aka Sean Baker's wife, and also producer of Nora and Florida Project and Red Rocket, and she's acted in some other movies. But yeah, I was really choosing in between, and I realized that if I want to go to the APCA, the Samantha Kwan talk first, if I'm greedy about it, I would go to the talk first, stay for like 10 minutes, and then rush over to the David Lynch class so that I could catch the rest of the Fire Walk with Me movie, so that I could at least enjoy the second half on the big screen. So I walked to school, and at 6:45 I arrived. I assumed that from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is just going to be lecture for the David Lynch class. So I arrived at Nora's Theater at 6:45. I opened the door slightly, and I found out that the movie's already playing, and we're already like 20 minutes in-ish. And I saw Avikai outside, and I talked to him a little bit. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go over to Taper Hall to check out what's going on. So I went over to Taper Hall, and oh my god, there's a long line. There's a big line to line up to see Samantha Kwan. And I also saw John Kim, said hi to him. And then a little bit later, I turned around and I saw Anna Iwasawa in the very back. So there are two lines. There's a member line, which is shorter, and there's the non-member line, which is really long and it's going up the stairs. And so I saw Anna Iwasawa. I talked to her for a little bit. It's cool that she's still here. And then I turned around and I see a girl, pretty wide girl, with a black sort of like shirt thing with curly, messy hair. And I'm like, oh Jesus, it's her. It's Jayun. And for a while, I'm like, okay, maybe I should go. Maybe I should go back to the David Lynch class. At that point, I still hadn't decided. Maybe I should go back to the David Lynch class. Because I kind of want to avoid this situation. I kind of don't want to see her. And at some point, she walked back, and she's right behind me. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, does she know that I'm here? Oh my god, please don't do this to me. And then I realized I shouldn't, avoid her. That's just gonna make the problem worse. The thing is, I have been cut. And a scar is formed, and the healing has begun. I've started healing when we went to Little Tokyo. But by ignoring her and trying to avoid her, I'm just worsening it. I'm just worsening my scar. So I feel like I'm just gonna treat it like nothing. So she walked past and I looked at her and I waved. I said hi. And she waved back. Just a brief wave. I don't know what she was thinking at that moment, but yeah, this is the first time we see each other since Little Tokyo, and she probably has some thoughts about the wave. I might have a little feeling about it, but yeah. I think I also walked past Colin Nelson. That fucking bitch. He's my op, okay? I finally found an enemy in SCA. One-sided enemy. And that's Colin Nelson. Scrawny white kid who took the girl I love and is abusive. Fuck him. But, yeah. So I I don't know what to say. And then I saw Justin T, and then he cut the line with me, and then I was like, you know what, let's go to the member line. I'm not even a member, but like, who cares? I'm a senior. I was an APCA member for like 2 years already, and they know me, so I'm just gonna go in. So I lined up at the member line, and coincidentally, Audrey, the Asian girl, also walked up to the member line. So within the same vicinity, I was standing at the member line in the middle of Tabor Hall. I looked, and it's Justin T, Jayun a little bit far away, like 2 steps away, and then Audrey right beside me. And I'm just like, oh my god, all these worlds colliding. I've never seen Justin T and Jayun standing next to each other. It's like, this should not be happening. And Jayun was even trying to say something to me. I think she said Jamala, which is like, what's up? Or like, what do you want to do? Or like, what are you doing? Or something like that. And then she said, you're lining up? I forgot what she said. I'm like, yeah. And then I just moved on. I just didn't look at her all that much. And then Audrey's there, and then Justin T's there, and then we just talked a little bit. I was still thinking of leaving, but at some point I'm like, you know what, I'll come in and sit down for a little bit. So I got in, I was a member. Another girl sitting at the long table who's checking in the non-members, she's like, hey, Enoch, right? You're in Cam's Fest. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, yeah, I love your film. And I'm like, thank you, haha. So we went in, and we sat down, and Samantha Kwan did not show up until 7:30 p.m. So at that point, I kind of already decided, you know what, I'm probably not going to go to David Lynch class. So the interesting thing is, today, our professor for the David Lynch class didn't do a big lecture. The TA did a lecture, a quick lecture. So the movie started early, so I probably missed a whole hour already. It doesn't matter anymore, so I'm just going to stay the whole way. So yeah, I sat Audrey to my left, Justin to my right, Jayun at the very front, and Samantha Kwan came, did a talk. Honestly, not huge on it. Sure, she's a really cool person, but I'm not really gaining much from it. Didn't really ask a question either. There were only 3 questions possible for Q&A, you know. But yeah, they gave out film. They gave out a 35mm film strip, which is really cool. But it's not really a scene from the film. It's like just a collection of frames, just like 6 cool frames. Like it's not, it's all right. And I lost a piece of film, so I spent the entire talk today just scavenging through my bag, looking around, trying to find the film. And then at some point, I even lost the white cover for that film, which is super awkward. But yeah, I guess the film is one of the few things I gained today. And then the other thing I gained was I talked to Audrey quite a bit, and I don't know, maybe I'm doing this to fill in the void of loneliness, but since Audrey seems like a nice person, I want to hang out. And I've been talking about watching a film, and apparently she's not free. She's just as busy as Jayun. She showed me her Google Calendar, and she has shit happening every single day. And the next weekend she's available is Thanksgiving, which is late November. So it's so ridiculous. So I'm like, you know, I feel like I should be busy. I find it ironic that this semester I'm less busy than last semester because I'm unemployed now. But yeah, I'm also not really in a club now. I just realized that. I'm not really in a club now. ABC is not gonna do much for me other than these events anyways. I like the Trojan, the archaeology club. I should look into that. But I'm not really in a club now, and yeah, I don't really know. So yeah, but turns out Audrey's free on October 28th, a Tuesday, and I'm always free on Mondays and Tuesdays, so might as well. Also, after Ethan Kwan's 310, I'm like done. I'm gonna take a month's break. During the Q&A, the Thai guy showed up at the very back and asked a question, but the question wasn't really that important. I think he just wants to speak to her, so that's that. But that's pretty much it. And then at some point they kicked all the people out other than APCA, like, leadership team, including Jayun. So they got to talk to her and, like, exclusive chat, and we're all just waiting outside. Audrey immediately left because she has a meeting, and then Justin T left and Jacob left. So I was left with Toll, the Thai guy, and I also saw Andrew Wu, and Ethan Kwan comes back, and Harley came back a little bit. But yeah. We yeah, me and Toll, we went back north. Turns out the professor's like talking, so I'm like, yeah, let's not go in. So we went back to Tabor Hall, talked a little bit, and then we just saw Samantha Kwan walk out, and every APCA leadership team member just followed her to her car. And then the other APCA leadership people were like, hey, go home, leave. And I'm like, fine, Jesus. So, yeah, we left. Me and Toll, we left. I walked to the village, and I and Toll talked, and he's really anxious about his first short film. And then he suddenly received a call, and he just called his friend, speaking in Thai for like 5 minutes. And I'm just standing there with a heavy backpack waiting for him. And at the end, I was like, I'm gonna leave. So he hung up the call, and we talked a little bit, and then I'm like, okay. Called a lift, went back home. It's already 10 p.m., had dinner. Now I'm here. Not much else. I feel okay. I think I'm exporting my college update video right now. And it's the one where I just came back to LA, the beginning of round 6, and I realized how much of like how much survival mode I was in the beginning, because the food, I was barely eating any food. I just settled down, and I'm immediately plunged to new semester, and I have all these goals. I need to lock in. I need to do this, do that. And then every single morning I would talk about Jayun and how much I want her. It was so painful, No wonder why I was like going insane in the first 2 weeks. But now I'm not really worried about food. I think I have like pretty good food every single night. And then I'm also not that worried about my social life. I feel like I've come to a point where 2 semesters ago I'm begging people to like bring me onto 310s, but now I'm like getting invited onto 310s. Like Colin's asking me, Katie's asking me. And then oh well, I'm in the Click to View club. Yes, I'm in one club. Yes. But yeah, I'm also, I think, doing better. I think my main goal this and next semester should be, instead of meeting new people, just like really understand deeply people that I already know. And I want to do that with several people. Like I want to do that with Colin and Garrett by proxy, but mostly Colin because he seems interesting. If I could do that with Maisie, that would be great. I want to know Audrey as well, even though I feel like she's a simple person. But then I'm like, yeah, you can never judge a book by its cover. I wanna know Matt, but he's a bit scary, so maybe not. Yeah. So lots of interesting stuff, and yeah. So I feel okay right now, but there's still a small part of me that feels melancholic, especially the dream I had in the morning, which is crazy, almost a little prophetic. Like I'm seeing Jayun. I kind of have a feeling that Jayun would be here, especially if it's Sean Baker related. And okay, Jayun even texted me, which is fucking crazy. I'm like, why are you texting me? But she texted me, oh, I love her, referring to Samantha Kwan. And she said she asked Samantha Kwan for advice, and the question was just like, what are some good food spots in Vancouver? That's what Jayun asked. And I'm like, that's valid. And that's pretty much it. But I think my situation with Jayun right now, while I still have some feelings for her, I think ironically, my feelings for her boosted a little bit. Like it was diminishing, but then I saw her in Little Tokyo and it went up again. And there's still something so magical about her presence, and she's not perfect. She's far from perfect. She's ugly, and ugly on the inside, beautiful on the outside. But like some part of her is just like fucked up, and sad, and but there's just something about her presence. Like, we had such a great time in Little Tokyo, and it was so brief too. I we go into a clothing store, and then we find a quiet spot, and we talk and we joke, and our conversation ranges between small talk to deep stuff. But like, what if we're in France? What if we travel around in France and we just walk around and talk like that? That's so. I want someone in my life who can share time with me like this. Um, I don't know how she feels right now, but I think if there's one thing that truly changed after Little Tokyo is that I'm not that anxious about how she feels about me anymore. Even though I'm not 100% sure how she feels about me, what I know is that it's okay because she probably has a little feeling for me, but just a little bit. But I think more importantly is like she's probably just as confused and just as messy as I am in regards to our relationship or our relationship with the rest of the world. Um, just messy in a different way. But so I find comfort in the fact that she's also struggling. So it's not like oh, she's, if she hates me, it's the end of the world. If she likes me, the world is saved. It's more just like whether she likes me or hates me, we're all still figuring it out, and it's gonna be okay. So again, if she texts me, it could range from anything from like just a friendly conversation, or like she still wants to talk to me. She still wants to continue this friendship or whatever relationship. But it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I'm bummed. So yeah, and I realize that I have shit ton of homework to do this week, and yeah. So that's it for today. It's already 2:30. What the fuck? Gonna try to go to bed earlier than 4, and we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Mary is cooking again. Time now is 10:14 a.m. in the morning on October 16th. Yeah, I slept from 4:40 to 10 a.m. Went back to bed for 10 more minutes. And oh my god, it's so loud, the cooking. Yeah, I'm sad that I had to go to bed so late last night. I didn't even watch a movie last night. I was going to, but I ended up not because I edited a college update video and that already took forever. But yeah, I still feel fine. It's not, I'm not that sleep deprived yet. Um, yeah, but yeah, definitely could be better. Today's gonna be a bit troublesome because I'm finally having classes. Um, smells like, I don't know what it smells like. Mary used my plastic spatula for the rice, for her own rice. Um, and then used my pan a couple days ago, and it's covered in grease. Okay, anyways, today I have motion picture script analysis. I'll have dinner outside, which is exciting news, and then the I have yeah, and then after that I have PD class. But right before I leave, I need to do homework. I need to go downstairs at the big table to finish some floor plans for and elevations for the PD class tonight, and I also have a video essay due tomorrow night, and I haven't worked on it at all, so I need to like work on it like now. So yeah, I don't have much else. I think the fact that I had 3 days in a row of natural waking up made me feel kind of strong in terms of sleep. Like, even though I only slept for less than 6 hours, I still feel okay right now. Also, I just got rejected from the Trojan Film Club script submission thing, which is not surprising. It's a first draft, it's and I only submitted for shits and giggles. But surprisingly, they have like a whole document of feedback for me, which is rare. Usually they just reject you without explaining. And so I went through the feedback a little bit, and yeah, it seems pretty negative. Everyone's super confused by my story. My story is also like weird. So, yeah. Um, but I don't really care. I think confusion is like my charm. Um, I love confusing stories. So, yeah. Um, yeah. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I also have like 8 days left with the script submission for 480, which is very nerve-wracking because I still haven't started working on the second script. I've been just brainstorming ideas the last 3 days, and I feel like I should move on to the next phase where for one, I need to email the writing professor about Cezanne, and I have 1 week left. Like, there's barely enough time for me to rewrite. Second of all, yeah, I need to work on my second script. So, yeah, that one is more serious. So, there's that. Not much else. Okay, time now is 12:20 after midnight. Another somewhat intriguing day. Woke up, and I felt okay after I woke up, like not too tired, not too sleep deprived. And my original idea was I was gonna wake up and film, like record my voice for my video essay, which is basically midterms for my Asian horror class, which is due tomorrow night. So I'm like, holy shit, gotta do it now. And then maybe also record a little bit for my canned video, and then just sort of chill and like have breakfast and lunch. And of course, I always underestimate how much time I need to do anything. So it took me like 2 hours to. First of all, it took me a whole hour to wake up. Embarrassingly, it took me a whole hour to wake up. I just laid on my bed and I waited, and you know. Second of all, I yeah. Second of all, I did not even have time to have lunch, and I have my script writing class at 1 p.m. And when I started recording my video essay, it was like 1 p.m. It was like 12:55 ish. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I might just skip this class as well, which is super duper ironic because if I skip today's class, then this means the production design class will be the first class I'm taking all week. Also the only class. But yeah, it's crazy. I'm just skipping classes left and right now. So I filmed my video essay, and then I immediately made myself a quick lunch, which is some tofu, kimchi, and dumplings. And then I thought, you know what? I should actually head to class because A, it's been a while since I've seen Moonlight, and B, the lectures are actually important. And when it comes to the final exam, it is important that we know the answers to the questions. And I only know them by attending the lectures. So I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll go to class. But it's also inconvenient because for tonight's PD class, I need to carry some foam core, which is over here, and I need to carry a bunch of stuff like glue and whatever. So I have to pack all of those things, and I carry this big bag of foam core. And then I went out, I took a bus, and I went over to Norris Theater, and by the time I arrived, it was 2 p.m. And the film was already 1/3 done, nearly. So I sneaked in, I sat down, and I enjoyed the lecture. And I feel like I didn't miss much, so that's cool. And I'm glad I went to class today, because even though I did not do the attendance thing, I don't care. Because at the end of the class, I spoke to the professor, because obviously I have 1 week left before the 2 scripts for 480 are due. And I also don't want to submit it too last minute. I went up to the professor and basically told him my script idea, what's going on. And it's really interesting because this might be the only time I'm able to ask him for help because his office hours are just super booked next week. But yeah, I waited for a while. I saw Isaac, who's the key grip, or like not key grip, one of the grips for Starman, and talked to him a little bit. But anyways, went up to the professor. First time really actually talking to him, and I was a little intimidated, but he's actually nice. And I was like, the guy in front of me, another white guy, he's talking about a script he's writing, and I was like, well, funny enough, interestingly, I'm also in a similar situation. I'm writing a 480 script, and it's just like too much is going on. It took me 2 months to write the first draft. And then he's just like, I asked him if he has time in the next few days to like talk, and he's like, yeah, I'm very booked, so just tell me now. And he asked me what's the log line. He asked me what's the one-liner, and I'm like, one-liner, like log line? And he's like, yeah. So I try to explain what's going on, my original idea, and he's like, that's a good story. That's a good idea. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That was really comforting. And then he asked me if I've seen Inside Out, and I'm like, no. And he's like, well, you're literally making Inside Out, so watch that. So I'm gonna watch that as soon as I can. And then, yeah, and then I'm gonna, yeah, my brain is foggy right now. And then I basically told him like the issues I'm having, which I have so many issues with my script right now that it's really difficult to sum it up in one sentence, and it's difficult to pinpoint what is the exact issue I'm having. I feel like I'm having so many issues with my script that all of them kind of just blend into a blur, just a blur of issues. So one of the big issues is that it's really complicated, and I keep thinking about changing the story because it started off kind of sci-fi and kind of like an allegory for the film industry, and then it kind of changes into a more personal thing, but kind of near future. And now I'm thinking of removing the near future element. Now I just want to focus on the sister character because she is basically the stand-in for Jiren. And yeah, and I keep like going on and on and on, and it was a bit awkward. Like I just went on, and I tried to like interject. I kept going and talk about my issue, and then the professor said something, and I said something, and he's like, wait a minute, and I'm like, okay, and he's like, well, it's too complicated, and I'm like, yeah, it's too convoluted, and he's like, yeah, it's convoluted because you're making it convoluted. Simplify it. He asked me like, so what's the theme, or what's the details? What does the character want? And I was able to answer it. I was like, oh, the character wants to be happy, but the character becomes happy, but like there's a brain surgery element. And he's like, yeah, it's too complicated. Just simplify it. You have a good idea, work on it, and that's pretty much it. But that was reaffirming. that is a good idea. But again, idea is one thing, execution is another. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm probably going to change a lot of it. But at least I have a more concrete idea. I want my script to be super tightly packed. Every single scene is like just oozing gold and connects with the next scene, advertises the next scene, and is at the same time full of emotions. And I feel like I'm so close to that, but I feel like I'm not quite there. I had Michelle read my script, and she doesn't have much to say. I told Thomas to read it, so Thomas is going to call me tomorrow and talk about it. Another thing that happened in the morning is I was suddenly sent Audrey the Asian girl, Jacob, and Toll. They all sent me a photo, and the photo is George Lucas is coming tomorrow at 6 p.m. I planned to have a call with Thomas at 6 p.m. Scrap that. I'm seeing George Lucas. So, yeah, tomorrow I'm seeing George Lucas. So that's that. Kind of excited. Not really. But still cool. And I'm going to be there just for a bit. Just for a wee bit. So tomorrow's going to be very interesting. But more on that later. Okay, so after the script writing class, I went to SCA third floor. And I brainstormed my script a little bit. And then I worked on the elevations and the floor plans a little bit for my production design class, and then and then I left to find dinner. So great news is I was able to have both breakfast and lunch at home, which means I eat dinner outside, which means I don't need to make dinner tonight. I'm saving myself 1.5 hours of time, even though I'm still like meandering and procrastinating. But yeah, I went to Dulce because I'm carrying a lot of foam core, and I thought I should just get food, go back to SCA, eat in peace. I'm not going to go to a restaurant. The issue is that by the time I arrived in Dulce, it was already 6:20, and by the time I got my food and walk all the way back to SCA, get to third floor and sit down, it was already 6:45. So I'm going to be late to PD class, and lo and behold, I was late. I was late for 20 minutes. I also ran into Maddie, the black girl. Interesting. But yeah, I ate up the food, and then I walked over to the PD class, went into the class, sat beside Christian R, talked, it was nice, and then saw Sydney, Evan, Lynn, everyone, and it was a fun little class where we basically do more of the same, just finishing the floor plan and the elevations, building the white model. Haven't even started the building process yet, but you know. And then that's it, came back home. But tomorrow's going to be a mess because I just confirmed that tomorrow Ethan wants to go to the Warner Brothers prop house with me, which means I'm not going to the art class. Which is good and bad news. Bad news is I'm missing that class and I miss attendance. Good news is I don't need to submit my homework on time for tomorrow. But now I risk, because tomorrow several things are happening. At 5 p.m. there's a Click to View Club meeting, and I don't want to miss that because I already missed last week's. And then at 6 there's a George Lucas thing, which means I need to leave the Click to View Club meeting early. And then I need to leave the George Lucas thing early because I need to head to Culver City to watch Queer Panorama and Green Snake. And I asked one of the guys from the Hong Kong Cinema Club if they're going to Green Snake, just by the off chance if they are going, and if they're driving, they can drive me back to USC. But unfortunately, they're not going. So I'm going alone, and I need to take the metro back alone, which is fine. Yeah, just a lot is happening tomorrow. But yeah, spoke quite a bit to Audrey the Asian girl today. Because she texted me at like 4:15 a.m. last night, which is fucking crazy. I forgot to talk about my dream this morning. I dreamt that it's sometime in the near future, and out of like anger or frustration, I decided to do a solo protest. I decided to do something protesting against the Chinese government. And they saw me on CCTV, and I immediately realized that was a huge mistake, and I went into hiding, and my mom's like, upset, more so like scared for me, like worried for me than like upset that I offended China. Um, and yeah, that's that. Um, yeah, and then that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else. Just worried about the amount of homework and scripts and like everything I need to submit. But after Ethan Kwan's 310, I should be free. And then after the scripts are due, I should be freer. And then it should be nice. It should be nice from then on out. And then in November, you have the internship applications and, um, stuff like that. But, yeah. Ugh. Trying to go to bed earlier tonight, but don't know if that's possible. And I don't really have too much else to say. Still thinking about Giant from time to time. It'll pass, I'll move on. And again, it's like I got the best possible ending given the circumstances, right? Yeah. I feel like given the circumstances, I did the best I can. But it's just, I don't know, it's just like, I think about all the people I've met in SCA, and Giant still stands out as like the one. And I can't imagine myself liking anyone else still. So, yeah. That's it.